As we know, Greta Thunberg is a puppet of her literal communist parents. But the level of her moronic stupidity, of allowing herself to be manipulated. She's now 17. When I was 17, I wasn't letting my parents manipulate what I said on international TV, but that's what she's doing. So she's either a total fucking moron, or she's responsible for some of the moronic shit she's saying. The latest moronic shit she said is that there should be zero emissions. Zero. Not net zero, not no increase. We shouldn't cut emissions. We should have zero emissions. Which means no greenhouse gas, which means no internal combustion engine cars, no coal power, pretty much no modernity at all. So Greta Thunberg wants us to sit in a cave. We can't even put some logs on a fire. We can't even set fire to some logs because that would be some emissions. This is the problem when morons, just intellectually dishonest, fucking idiots, praise a child saying bullshit. Because do you know what a child saying bullshit's going to do when you praise them? They're going to say more bullshit, aren't they? How any adult human with any instincts at all could ever have praised Greta Thunberg is a fucking huge mystery. But what's she come out with now? She said we should have a zero emissions. What does that mean? It means we can't even light a fire from wood. We have to sit in the dark all night. We have to never use any technology. We can't use any cars. We can't even use electric cars because to generate electricity, even from a nuclear power station, there'll be some emissions somewhere at some point, let alone coal-fired power station. But Greta Thunberg has perfectly illustrated the utterly moronic attitude of environmentalists when it comes to power generation. Even wind and solar cause emissions, because how do you make the windmills? How do you make the solar cells? Some emissions are involved somewhere. But of course, when it's not windy, which it isn't, 85% of the time it's not windy, windmills sit there doing nothing most of the time. You have to have somewhere to store the power. How is that power stored? Well, it isn't, because mass grid scale power storage doesn't exist. Fossil fuels are used to back up wind and solar. She's talking about zero emissions, so you can't do that. So, the 10 minutes, 20 minutes a day when you have power in your house and it goes off the rest of the time, you're lucky to have that. This clueless fucking child is lecturing adults about how to run the world. What the fuck does she know about anything? Nothing. She's spouting communist twaddle from her fucking parents. And I don't even know if her communist moronic parents, by the way, communism strip-mined the world, polluted, caused nuclear accidents. It was just a fucking disaster. Communism's a disaster. Capitalism, free market capitalism, has steadily improved the environment over the last few decades. The environment has got much better. We've got much stronger environmental protections, all due to free market capitalist democracy. Hashtag you're welcome, communists. You would have fucked the world, but I digress. This is what happens when, even if you agree with what a child is saying publicly to hector your opponent, even if you agree with it, you shouldn't say, "Oh, well done, child. Well done for hectoring my opponent." Because they're a fucking child. Because they could say something utterly moronic next. And what a surprise. That's exactly what Greta Thunberg has done. She's called for zero emissions. What a fucking moron. But she's 17. Almost all 17-year-olds are fucking morons. But she's not beyond criticism. She's put herself in the public eye. She's virtually an adult. If she's a moron, she should be called a fucking moron, and she is. And her parents are morons because they're fucking communists, and communism can't ever work because it doesn't harness the free market. It has never worked. Her parents are morons, she's a moron. That isn't a coincidence. They're a low intelligence, low IQ family of fucking idiots. She's calling for zero emissions. Do you know what that looks like? That looks like sitting in a fucking dark field while your family is raped because there's no police anywhere to fucking help you. There's no night lights at night. There's just fucking anarchy. There's early man living in a cave, shitting in a field, drinking dirty water because there's no electricity to purify it, dying at 40, bullshit, nightmare existence. Zero emissions. What the fuck are you talking about, you stupid little bitch? It's just moronic. But Greta Thunberg has always been moronic. The surprise isn't that she's saying something even moronic now. The surprise is that the left just jumped in. You shouldn't back up a child, even if they agree with you, because they're going to say something stupid like this next. Especially a child who's backed by two communist parents. Communism doesn't work. Fucking newsflash. It's not surprising to me. If Greta Thunberg had been out there on TV every day saying exactly what I thought, I would never have said anything positive about her. Because she's a fucking child. What the fuck? Do teenagers know about anything? They don't know shit. So why was the left so keen to jump on this moronic 17-year-old? It's because the mentality of the leftist now is out of the window. The broadly accepted mentality of the leftist in the West now is point scoring. It's petty. It's feminists laughing at men. It's petty. It's not strong women saying they appreciate strong men. It's feminists trying to take power from men who've earned it and give it to women who haven't earned it. It's women, it's extreme leftist women laughing at men's rights activists, laughing at the higher suicide rate for men. It's petty, but it's also pathetic. And that's what Greta Thunberg is, and that's what the people that support Greta Thunberg are. They're pathetic. They're not strong people, they're weak people. Greta Thunberg is a weak person. Her parents are weak. Anyone that supports Greta Thunberg is weak. Because they're fighting a zero-sum game that doesn't exist. They're Team A versus Team B. It's pathetic. It's not how the real world works. The real world is more nuanced than that. You fucking child. Get back to school and learn it. The extremist morons on the left, the hardcore environmentalists, feminists, Antifa, rabid Black Lives Matter people, all of these people are weak. They're pathetic. They have no self-confidence. They're worried about everything. And they're lashing out because they know they're wrong. They know they're pussies. They know they're weak. So Antifa wants to attack a 5-foot-tall Vietnamese right-wing journalist. It takes 20 of them and milkshakes with concrete in to do it because Antifa are fucking pussies. If Antifa get in a fight with a pensioner, they're going to lose. If 10 Antifa get in a fight with a pensioner will beat the shit out of every last one. Because Antifa are just pussies. Because they're losers. Feminists are losers. Black Lives Matter are losers. Soy boys are losers. All of the extremists on the left, and centre-left people, perfectly reasonable. Extreme left people, like the people I've just listed, are fucking losers. And that's why they act in the way that they do, because they have low self-esteem. They lash out at people because of their own inadequacy. And that's what you should remember. Greta Thunberg, both of her parents are losers. She was a loser at school. All her friends hated her. That's why she refused to go to school. And now she's spouting the most fucking stupid live in a cave, die young, no medicine, no transport, no internet, no phones, no modern technology at all. The opening scene of 2001, humans are monkeys again, zero development, hellhole. This is what she's preaching now, because she's a fucking moron with no self-esteem. This is why you shouldn't take lectures from kids. Why do the left not understand this? Well, hopefully now they do.
The Deviant Developer Podcast. Tap subscribe in any podcast app to never miss an episode. Please leave a review on iTunes and like on YouTube. It's essential to spread the word. To contact me or make a welcome donation, go to thedeviantdeveloper.com. Your support is greatly appreciated.